love and happiness. Yeah.
Love and Happiness's mission is to help 1 million couples. Dr. Vandy and Barbara Coulter are committed to reaching this goal. Love and Happiness has helped thousands over the years through their couples retreats hosted in various cities. Their popular Central Florida TV show, Love and Happiness, has been syndicated in several states. Their best-selling book, Love and Happiness: The Secrets to Creating Winning Relationships, has helped singles and couples alike learn how to build better relationships. It's no surprise that the Coulters are in high demand. Relationship subject matter experts featured on talk shows and national radio looking for real relationship talk. The Coulters' virtual retreats, social media platforms, Facebook live streams, and relationship masterclasses have put their mission to help 1 million couples in their sights. Dr. Vandy Coulter, Ph.D., a certified counselor with presidential status in the American Association of Christian Counselors, has a virtual counseling practice that serves CEOs, pastors, entrepreneurs, individuals, and couples who want their relationship to go from bad to good or good to great. Dr. Vandy has been featured on Fox, CBS, NBC, their national affiliates, and various media for the impact from his virtual counseling as a response to the relational health crisis during the COVID pandemic. Dr. Barbara Coulter, real estate investor and serial entrepreneur, complements and contributes to what makes Love and Happiness the perfect blend of real talk and fun. Our motto is no one gets their happily ever after. They create their happily ever after. After the hurt, after the disappointment, you can still be happy. And Love and Happiness is just what you need to have.
Love is. Wait a minute.
All right.
Good morning, Facebook family. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday.
Hello.
Hello to everyone.
Yeah.
So you guys are in
For a treat.
For a treat. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm so sleepy.
We're finishing each other's sentence. It's like, that was like a brain stage, a pause. It's like, 1, 2, 3, yeah.
Anyway, you guys are in for a treat. We have a great episode for you today.
Yeah.
And the topic is, let's talk.
Yeah, we're going to talk about something pretty cool because you're probably going to learn some stuff about us as well. But the topic, and matter of fact, I can just do this as well because I have that ready. Here's the topic there. Should your best friend be the opposite sex? And we're going to talk about the pros to it and the cons to it and the real talk in between because it is kind of sometimes complicated.
Sometimes complicated.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely kind of complicated. So do us a favor, share this before we get going and start really talking about this. And let's let my wife decide whether we're going to do the pros or the cons.
Let's do.
And then stick to it. Because if you watch us, you'll be like, every time she says pros, then she'll do the cons. So stick to which one. What we doing, pros or cons?
We're going to do the cons.
Okay, the cons.
We're going to do the cons.
So let's talk about the downside of when your best friend is the opposite sex.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When your best friend is the opposite sex, in my opinion, the reason why it's a con, well, it's a no is because you're.
Wait. You just turned it from the outlining some of the challenges to saying it's a no. So wait, so in the
For me, that's my opinion.
No. It's still, no matter what, it's our opinion. It's that unless we're stating something that's proven. All I'm saying is you said it's a no. So it's a non-starter.
Yes.
Okay.
For
I just want
several
to make
reasons.
sure I understand.
For several reasons. Because then I'm giving a part of me to someone that should have that my husband should have. I'm giving him all my ghosts. I'm giving him the real me, like when I'm frustrated, when I'm aggravated, but yet and still, I'm giving that ghost to my best friend who's a dude, which I had a best friend that was a dude.
That's why I was laughing. If you saw me laughing,
22 years ago.
I'm like, wait, let's just stop for a second. And let's be real for a second about our life for a second. because I laughed because you were saying yes or no, and then I was just thinking you was going to pivot to I wouldn't want my man's talking to another woman, but then you used yourself and you said I wouldn't want to give that part of me, and I had to laugh because when I first met her, and she had a male best friend,
and he wasn't gay.
Wait. Notice this because for years it took her years to own this, and then but as I'm just dating her and I'm listening on the phone and she's telling me about her best friend, this, and I'm like, nah, he wants to be with you. And she was like, no, because he was this and da. We would be here and he never said anything. I said, trust, he is in friend zone and he doesn't know how to unlock it. He doesn't know how to get out of it. He wants to be with you. And then she was like really defensive. No, that's my best friend for how many years before I met you?
God, 15.
15 years and da. And I said, all right. And we're just dating. We're not full blown all Google eyes for each other. And so for me, because I can see that would be an issue. And my thing at that point is I was really simplifying my life. If it even smelled like issues when I was single, I'm like, nah, we at lunch is like check. And so I said, so listen, if you want to keep him as a best friend, you and I will not be dating because I can tell this guy has something for you. I ain't never met him. I'm listening to you really closely. And based on the things you're saying, he wants to be with you. And then she was like, all right, fine. So she made the decision to say, let me go ahead and tell him, I got to put my focus and energy in this new relationship. And on that day, he comes out and says, I love you though.
No, I'm in love.
You. Thank you.
I was like, whoa, bro.
I was saying, I told you, I could tell. So when she said for herself, for me, I wouldn't want to give that part of me. I'm like, sis, you was defending
because
that friendship. Friendship, right. In your eyes, you was a friend, but in his eyes, he was stuck in friend zone and he couldn't figure out how to get out. And I was like, nah. So when you said for me, it would be given up, I was like, you was prepared to keep him. If I didn't draw a line in the sand and
he was like, okay, let me say, because when he was my best friend, I was in my early 20s, 21, 22.
When he was in friend zone.
When he was in friend zone, I actually had a boyfriend. Yes, if my daughter is watching, I had a boyfriend before I met your father. In my early 20s.
She said a boyfriend.
Anywho,
that's her truth.
And so
Uno.
Okay, so anyway, so he was my best friend, and so we would talk about everything. We were on the phone 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. When my boyfriend was getting on my nerves, I called my best friend. And I'm like, you realize he did? He was like, really? And he had girlfriends, and I would give him advice. He would give me advice. We were like,
no. See, what? The way my wife will give you information. All right, he had girlfriends that she fixed him up with. Hold on.
My sister.
Hold on. So when you keep, if he ain't interested in nobody, but you keep dragging people into his life. That's not the same as he had good friends and you keep setting him up and he's like, fine, I'll have the liver.
I even set him up with one. I have 4 sisters, y'all.
All right, well, let's move to the point.
I set him up with
we're good.
She didn't like him anyway, whatever. My point is, I think it's not good because
even though you tried to keep him.
Look.
I'm just saying. Are you doing hindsight 2020? You saying now that I look at it, it would have been a problem.
Hindsight 2020.
Even if he never said I love you.
Y'all watch Grey's Anatomy? Okay. Anyway, moving right along. But no, because I would not want you to have a best friend that you're giving all your ghosts to, and you're telling everything. But I don't get that piece of you because why? You don't call your best friend when you're angry. Your best friend when you're happy. You called your best friend to celebrate moments in your life, and I get the second end of that. So I'm not getting 100%. You because your best friend got it, and
why do I feel like I'm being told off?
No, I'm not saying.
It just feels like there's some energy.
Hey, Facebook family, what do you think? I need to hear some information. I need to hear some feedback because if you have somebody in your life that you're giving your essence to and not giving that essence to your mate, I think that's a problem.
Yeah,
especially if your best friend is hot.
Okay.
If your best friend, that's just the real. If your best friend, whether it's a woman or a man, whatever, I mean, if you, I guess, because if you had a female friend that wasn't like, your flavor or your taste or your type, I might could have adjusted some things.
No, but I'm cool with you. Okay,
That's
so that's your position
Mm-hmm.
on why it's not a cool idea.
Right.
All right, and in this scenario, just for fairness' sake, because you did bring out a point just now that I think is let's just make this like the rules of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume that they're both quality people versus one person is like with a limp and a hunchback or you know, and cross eyes and one arm, and you go, oh, my mate will never cheat with them. Okay, let's remove let's assume they're both just quality people, whether short, tall, you know, over, underweight, whatever. Let's just assume they're quality people, and and you know, okay. So should that quality person, they don't have to be like, oh my God, that's a Victoria's Secret model. They don't have to be, you know, there, but and they don't have to be like, oh my God, she's the American Idol. But let's just say they're quality people. The pros we're doing, you said?
I said we're doing the cons first.
Because I was sworn you said pros. But
I
okay,
said we're doing
fair
the
enough.
cons first. Didn't I say cons first?
I believe you
Yeah,
if you're saying it. I believe you.
Well, go ahead.
So okay, so the cons to having that, I can only agree to the aspect that it could become a distraction to the ability for you two to really work out things, because one person can keep going outside the relationship and kind of make those emotional deposits in someone else's emotional bank. And if they're kind of with us together, you know, there's an interest in dividends that it pays over time that we deposited into each other's emotional bank.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
Okay. So we're doing the cons.
The cons.
Okay.
And what else?
So there's something that is an interesting, you know, in this age, they, you know, it's like, I like Facebook. I like y'all. But sometimes I feel like Facebook is always like they have nothing better to do but to make up a new thing. And I'll use the app and I'm like, why did they move something? It's like they have nothing to do, right? So sometimes that's how the world is at large. So they came up with a new term called micro cheating. Okay. Micro cheating. So micro cheating. Now remember when the internet came out, then they had that whole internet, you know, where you could be emotionally cheating because you're you know, chatting with somebody in the chat or whatever.
Somebody online and stuff like that.
Well, not even just on. Yeah, well, if you're online, yes, it could be
online.
Yeah, right. So micro cheating, where it's like you're almost cheating, but in terms of emotional cheating, but you're not. So here's micro cheating in today's world. They're saying stuff like, if you are following someone's social media page because they kind of are your flavor, and you're liking a bunch of their pages and you're in a relationship, that's micro cheating. Get it? Because you're really doing it on a micro level and you're really just kind of like into somebody else.
Stalking them.
And for example, if you're in someone's feed or something and then your mate comes in and you gotta hide that or close it, even though you're not talking directly to that person, that's micro cheating. It's a real thing. It's a real. I thought I sent you the link when I saw that too, but it's a real thing. So all I'm saying is, from the standpoint of the downside of it, the cons, I think that to me is the biggest thing that when you guys have some inevitable intense moments of fellowship, they will look at someone else.
Right.
Let's talk about the benefits
of having your best friend be your mate.
Yeah.
Oh, because then it's like, you know.
Wait.
What?
No. What's the benefit if you have a best friend who's not your mate?
Oh, okay. I guess you can talk to your best friend when your mate is getting on your nerves, like, oh, this dude or this girl. And you can just throw up on them. But then at the end of the day, your best friend, they are supposed to be held to a standard where they're keeping it all confidential, but then they're looking at your mate twisted. So I don't know if that's a benefit. Then they're gonna be looking at your mate like,
that's real. Because then
they can feed you negative thoughts like, you think you want to be with him? You should dump her. You deserve better. So I don't even know. I don't even know if there is a benefit. I was gonna say you slid right into the non. And I don't know the benefits. I think let's remove the pros and cons. Let's just talk about how it affects the relationship. Okay.
All right. Because I think you're right. The person who you're intimate with is more capable of putting it in this right basket where your friend will say, I remember at Thanksgiving, you know, they disrespected you, and they'll hold on to that and remind you constantly of it. So I think it does affect the relationship. If the person is a real honest friend, it doesn't necessarily, they're not dragging it in. If the person who's your best friend has their own agenda, meaning they're single, so they're trying to just get you to be single again, they're going to keep reminding you, and then it could, you know, having that best friend outside the relationship, they're trying to really undermine your relationship. I wonder if you've ever had those watching where you had people in your life that you're like, it's not that you're hating, but you are like almost willing to undermine. And so we can get back to our good old days. So we can go hang out. So we can just,
that happens. That happens all the time, I'm sure. But, you know, I guess I just, you know, I personally would not want to be to give someone else all of my essence. Now, you can have friends, but they have to be, for me, group friends. Like my male friends are your male friends. It's our like male friends. Like, you know, you know, we'll meet a couple and we're just all cordial. We're all just friends, but I'm not calling him. He's not calling me. I'm like, oh no, inappropriate. You crossed the line. No, she's not calling you, anything like that. But I just, you know, I just think it's a benefit when I can just throw up on you. And for me, I'll say, okay, I need to talk to my best friend. I don't want my husband trying to solve a problem. I don't want my priest to pray about it because he's all that. I just want my best friend where I can throw up, vent, because this is what happened today. Or I just need to just throw up on you. Don't try to fix stuff. Don't try to be, you know, whatever. And so I enjoy that. And I tell you which hat to put on before I introduce the conversation.
You do. And if the person has an option outside of the relationship, you know, like when we first got together, I kept saying to you, you know, it's me and you and everybody else, right? Like that was one of the core values that I wanted to instill, whereas our relationship would always be the priority, you know, whereas it doesn't fall into that other things can invade and become toxic or even just distract us from each other, you know, in a way that all of a sudden we can turn our attention and affection to other things, not necessarily even people, but it's got to be me and you and everything else, right? And so I think that if you have how it affects the relationship, okay, first of all, I think a lot of people won't be willing to admit it affects it.
It does.
Because if they admit to their mate, okay, I agree, it could affect our relationship, then they could be afraid their mate's going to say, so get rid of them today, you know, and they may not be ready to do that.
But it's also a tell, Vandy, that if I have to have a best friend outside of this relationship, then something is wrong with this relationship. Think about this.
Well, I disagree.
You should be able to be, for me, everything that I need. You should be able to be, because if I had a best friend, which I did, because when I look back at, you know, I look back at my relationship with my best friend before, you know, we got engaged and all that kind of stuff, and you said, I'm gonna do it all my life, girl. I'm like, wow, I didn't see it. I didn't see any of the signs that he
was in love with you.
I didn't see
but okay, that's because you stuck him in friend zone. And when guys, real talk, meet somebody, and even though you had he was the best friend of your boyfriend at the time, that doesn't change his eyes, and he still was like, man, I wish I was with her. You and that boyfriend were rocky in and out, or whatever that weird, we'll call it weird. He's now seeing an opportunity, but he's stuck in friend zone. And if you didn't have a boyfriend and you just met him at school, at work, at the park, and you put him in friend zone. Ladies, when you put a guy in friend zone, that's like putting handcuffs on him. I wish I had some women who could just tell the truth about this, because some women stick a guy in friend zone on purpose because they're like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but you're not my type, or whatever that is. And when he goes into friend zone, and guys are like, it's like trying to pick a lock, and they're like, I can't figure it out. And what I'm saying is, it takes game to unlock that friend zone combination. And then all of a sudden, then you be like, I thought we was just friends. And he's like, girl, please, because he unlocked that code. But most 9 out of 10, they get stuck in the friend zone. There's handcuffs and restraints, and they just like listening to you like they one of your girlfriends, and they're like, No, girl. But meanwhile, they're like, how do I get out of friend zone?
But now, would a woman want her man to have a female best friend that's hot?
We're talking about how it affects the relationship.
But still, because I know people may be watching going, well, my best friend is a guy, but he's gay. That's a different, or she's gay. That's a different thing. But I'm saying it affects the relationship because it does. Okay. It does.
But again, people who may have a different gender preference, of which, again, I laugh because when I met her other friend. Now
he wasn't my best friend. He was my friend.
Whatever. He was a friend who you looked at as brother. You would say I looked at him like he was my girlfriend.
Yeah. Because
here's more of our life.
He was gay.
But what she didn't know, and this is what you ladies need to understand about how real this friend zone thing is. Now, this individual who was a friend was conflicted in his sexuality. I knew him before I knew her, and I knew him, and I watched him, and I'm like, I'm still kind of smelling like Brooklyn, New York at the time, and I'm looking at him like, he's definitely on that side of the team. He's not on our side. He's on that side. And fast forward though, he never, it was one of those, those people who you think are choosing a different preference of lifestyle, but they don't say it. So you're kind of like, is it though, or isn't it? Right? So fast forward, 3 years before I met you, 3 years. Y'all had built the houses next to each other. It was 3 years.
Well,
no, we're not doing the whole.
Next to each other.
I'm just saying.
He's a neighbor.
You ended up building houses. He's a neighbor next to your house. I'm at his house. She walks in 3 years before I ever met her.
Housewarming party.
I'm in the back of his house. She walks in with a pie.
Housewarming gift.
With a pie.
My new neighbor.
And I'm single looking to mingle. I see her and I'm like, I'm a man with purpose. What I see, I get. I see it, it's mine. If I see it, God said I can have it, right? I'm walking with purpose. I just up and I'm heading towards where she is. It's his house. She brings a pie. So I ask him, yo, who's that? He says, that's me.
He lied.
When he said that's me, she's still thinking he's friend. Now he is conflicted, but just because maybe he's bi, maybe he's pan, wherever he is, right? On that, those alphabets. All I'm saying is he also wanted to be out of friend zone with you. He ended up marrying a woman, even though it ended up failing.
I told her don't marry him.
Even though it failed. But what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say to you is he was in friend zone. And I told my wife now we're dating, and after we're dating, because we ended up meeting through him, and then after I said, I saw you years ago, and I was coming for you. And he said, that's me. And she was like, what? No way. He was just a girlfriend to me. He's just this.
Like my neighbor, my brother.
And she couldn't believe it was true. But fast forward on our wedding day, he then revealed the tears of, I missed my
reception line
to the degree that she had to see what I'm saying.
Crazy.
So all I'm trying to say is when you put the man in friend zone, you're torturing him, first of all, emotionally, psychologically. He's trying to figure out the Rubik's Cube to get out, and some ladies keep a man in friend zone on purpose. They're like, I know you're gonna stay in that zone, keep the key locked. They throw away the key. And all I'm saying is, if the relationship that you want to create is affected by something outside, at some point you have to be willing to hear your mate's heart.
Absolutely.
And pivot.
Absolutely.
And prioritize at some point. Now, some relationships will be able to manage that kind of dynamic, and it never will affect them. They're good. It's all good. Nobody's tripping. Everybody's fine, right? Hey, I see Pastor Charlene.
How are you?
Vivian, I see y'all on our end.
Hey,
we can't
Vivian.
see everybody because it depends on how they come in through the different streams that are going on. But we see y'all. We're so happy you're there. Love to hear what y'all think about the friend thing as well. So all I'm saying is it could affect others, but it doesn't have to affect others. There are some relationships that are I don't want to say everyone's insecure. That's trouble, but they may be more secure. They may be more, balanced with their position on things. It depends, but generally speaking, that outside can affect the inside connection. Right. All right, so she said it's true they could see what the other can. Yeah, it is true.
Because you saw it. You saw that, he was like,
I saw it both times on her, and she's seen it, in fairness, on my end. But I'm just saying it comes up, even though it's like, okay, it's like, imagine, this is where the frustration comes in until there's trust. If there's no trust, right? And I'll say this to Pastor Charlene, if there's no trust, right, Pastor, then when the other person sees it, and when they say it, the person you're telling, your mate, will be like, nah, I don't see that. No. And then they'll push back because they don't necessarily trust that it's true. It's not that they don't think you can see things as much as they don't trust that is their truth. They'll be like, I don't think so. And then you got to push, no, I'm telling you, I see. Right. And they're like,
But for me, at the time, looking back 22 years ago, it was like, okay, I know how I feel. I trust me all my life. I know how I feel. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
On no level.
Yeah,
I look at them both as like, that's my brother, because I actually have a natural brother. Okay, so I'm like, they're in that category.
But here's what Pastor Charlene is saying, which is also a indicator, Pastor Charlene, that you were tied up, probably communing with the Lord, and you did not see the earlier part of this, because we actually talked about the fact that what she said, sometimes we think it's a friend relationship, but they use it as a way to get close to you.
And that is true.
And what we shared earlier was how, when I met her, she had a so-called best friend, and it was clear when she was speaking to me that he wasn't that. And he really wanted to be more. And I drew the line in our early date to say, if it's going to go, we shouldn't continue.
And I had to think about, what I want you to have a female best friend outside of us. And I'm like, oh no. So I saw the logic in that. Well,
and the cool thing is, because we were early in the dating process, we weren't invested. There's no buying. There's no, we're in the bed, so we're this and we're tripping. So it's easier to create the life you want when you haven't complicated it yet.
Right.
And so I told you, I gotta go. If this is your friend, I can tell he wants to be with you, then I'm out. And that's cool, because we just don't need to start anything. And then you were like willing to say, no, I'm going to stop. Then he said, I'm in love with you. And so that's what I was saying to Charlene. So, all right. So it's 11:30. We are going to go ahead and bounce, unless there's something on your heart as it relates to this you want to.
No, I just think that, when you and I, had that long talk, and it should be just you and me and then everybody else, that means everybody else. So no one goes before my relationship with my no earthly person goes before my relationship. Kids, family, mama, friends, every childhood cousins, whatever. No, it's you and me and everybody else. I think
play best friends.
I think that if you really want to have a healthy relationship, you need to prioritize your relationship and really hear your mate's heart, to see, what they're saying and how they're feeling, and just, think about,
Well, hey, check this out. I got a little side caveat. Love to hear what y'all think about this.
Okay.
This was in our second date type conversation, maybe second, or I'll go third possibly.
Okay.
That I had said, if you want to continue with him as your friend. Now, check this out. How is it? I want to hear your thoughts. How can you think, or how do you think it would work if I did that? There's an alternate universe that I would have did that, and you would have said, bruh, I've known this guy 15 years. I've known you for 2 dates. I don't know if I want to give up a friendship in her eyes of 15 years for someone I met on my second or third date who has an issue with him as my best friend. And honestly, she could have been like, well, Vandy, you never met him. And I'm like, I don't have to, because I can hear through the spirit of what was being said. But what if because there's a lot of people who might say, well, I don't want to give up. Maybe we're dating here. He hasn't put a ring on it. And he's telling me I need to get rid of some of my friends, but he hasn't stepped up, because that kind of complicates things.
That's a good question.
See,
and
not just a point.
Well, that's a good observation or point. As for me, I kind of knew within my heart of hearts that okay, if I want any relationship to work on that level, I'm gonna have to do that because I would not want to meet Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Right, and because I was dating on purpose. I told you on the first date I was interviewing you for this position. I'm too grown to date. I'm 29 years old. I'm ready to get married. This is a mission. I'm dating on purpose, right? Interviewing you. So I had to just really evaluate what I wanted versus
Yeah, but in our case, it really was different because it really was the Lord's doing.
It was
in so many ways that it's clear. But the average relationship, it's a little murky. And thanks, Vivian, for saying that. She loves the points that we're touching on and that you're enjoying it. Glad that love the fact you're here. What I'm saying is, for other couples that are not like in that space where it's like, man, I'm absolutely clear. This is going to go somewhere.
But you can't have baggage.
But no, what I'm trying to say is it's not baggage if it's part of my life. Okay. It's not a negative. This has been a friend where if I'm just saying some people may feel, and I want to hear your thoughts on that space where we don't have enough history yet. We haven't done anything. I'm not talking about the couple that's married already for 7 years. I'm talking about how it does kind of affect the integrity of the one-on-one when the other person already has a best friend of the opposite sex. And if you meet that and they're like, but that's my best friend, and let's say she's not like a 10 in your eyes or he, but they are a 8.5, and you're like, I still got issues because this can go sideways. All I'm saying is that person may not want to let go of their long-term friendship because they on their end it's a friendship, and they don't have history with you yet. That's all I'm trying to say. Like that's a real complexity that doesn't make it so cut and dry. That's all. At least I think. Now Vivian says that when we're talking about the opposite sex thing, the BFF has to go! Exclamation! 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 So yeah, but let's say he hasn't put a ring on it. I need to know, if you are watching right this second, to tell me if he hasn't put a yes or no. If he hasn't put a ring on it, and he's telling you your BFF has to go, and that BFF has been your ride and die up to that point, do you kick that BFF to the curb? Yes or no? No judgment either way, but I'm real talk. In your eyes, would you, if it ever happened to you, kick that person to the curb? Should you? Just a yes or no. Just tell me, because I think it's a little complicated. I don't think it's as simple as I'm going to cut them off when I'm like, you haven't proven you really committed to me.
Okay.
You leave and I lost my best friend. I'm left with nothing.
It's a thing though. As for us, this is the thing. Okay. I knew I wanted us to grow. I knew I wanted us to work.
See, you're wait,
for me. But for me, I know I see your point though. I'm
only interested in your perspective on the point on the table, whereas it's not as simple as what you had or what I had in terms of clarity.
That's true.
But it's a little more complicated. It's like, what if I give up my best friend and then you turn out to not be the right person? Then I have nothing. And a hush.
That was a gamble I was willing to take.
No, not you, but
people.
we had too much clarity. It was clear you were right for me. I was right for you. It was very clear from Jump Street. It was just very clear. And here it's 23 years later, knowing each other, going on 20 years marriage, and it's been happy and it's been a ride but of growth and development. But it's been an amazing ride that I would run to the altar today to say I do, knowing everything the ride had to get us to work through the individuals of two becoming one, and we're still in the becoming process, because I don't think you ever arrive. So all I'm saying is that it could be complicated, and I wouldn't want someone who may be still in we haven't made a real commitment, or maybe the marriage is sometimes so broken that they're like, yeah, but if I get rid of my BFF, you know, I'm gonna be isolated and emotionally starved for friendship, because sometimes mates are together. I'm telling you what I know as a counselor now. Now I'm sliding into my practice. They literally are not each other's best friends. They literally are not even friends. Forget best friends. They aren't friends.
That's like not having oxygen in your life, in your relationship.
There are mentee relationships where friendship is on life support and or been buried, and now they really want us to resurrect it through therapy and bring it back. So all I'm saying is, if you have a best friend that's giving you some life and energy, and your marriage has been absent friendship, it's the same thing. Whereas if the other person's like, well, give up your best friend, it's like, well, we ain't got nothing.
Well,
we have no.
I like what Vivian said too.
Go ahead, say it. Read
it. You don't have to cut them off. Maybe just talk to them a little less, or become.
Or that person could become both of your friends. But, and then there's a C more. There definitely has to be boundaries, like how much they're talking on the phone or hanging out. I like that, Vivian. That's a balanced approach to not extreme, heaven or hell, hot or cold. To say, yeah, all right, let's just put some kind of rules to the engagement, and this is how it looks if they're gonna be interacting with you. Boom, boom. I like that. That's something that you can offer somebody who's trying to push you to say, get rid of the person, and da 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 da. That's true. Yeah, but in your particular case, I knew they loved you, and they were not a best friend for you in both cases. And in both cases, I was correct, because I had a card saying I'm always right. I don't know what happened to it. I think somebody just threw it away because they was hating.
No, she didn't.
On the fact that I was always right.
No, she didn't. You're not always right. You're not always right.
I have a card that says it at least. I have a card. It's in writing.
I like what Pastor Charlie said. Boundaries are good. They're really important. And they're really necessary.
So so that's again confirming the boundaries and versus it can exist. You know, because I think it in my relational life, I wouldn't prefer it. Okay. Yeah. I would want my emotional equity to come from my wife. And I would want her to want my emotional equity versus someone else's. You know, I wouldn't want somebody being the source of emotional deposit and support for you, because I'd feel like I'm lacking something. Right. So for us, I wouldn't want it the outside best friend of the opposite sex, because it's like,
well, then what's to me, it's like, if you can't be my 100, and in every category you meet that need, then that's true.
No, I was laughing because what Pastor Charlene said is it's a clear understanding that it's a friend relationship. What I'm saying to that, Pastor, again, had you saw our conversation earlier, you would have heard the whole story. And this 15-year friendship my wife had when I met her, in her eyes, was 100% just a friend. She gave examples. They even went and been places that he had opportunity that if he wanted to even try to make a move. And I was like, I can hear in the spirit of this conversation, he wants more. And I didn't meet him. I'm just listening to her just share. And you know how your buddy Pastor Barbara could be, she's just hitting it. And I'm like, all I'm saying is what may be clear to one doesn't mean it's clear to both, because she was really clear. She would have sworn any Bible you gave her that this is just a friend. And I was absolutely, he is not. And the day she ended the friendship is when he said, but I'm in love with you. Let's make this work. You knew me longer than you knew him.
I was really shocked by that. So I was honestly shocked by it, because I would, hook them up on dates, even introduce them to my sister, like, here you go. They went out. She's like, nah. But anyway, my point is, but I personally, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. I would have a problem with you having a female best friend. And
I think for me, it's just more about not the doing as I would want, but I would prefer our emotions to be deposited into each other. And, and then the friendship relationships are kind of ancillary. They're just extensions of, they're just, there you go, that kind of thing. Vivian said, I agree. It'll still take away from your marriage if you open up a small crack to the devil. He will wait till the right time to take his opportunity to hurt the marriage. Agree.
That is so true.
And on that, I'll just say loud.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so we are a little bit over, but it was great. Our next conversation, we are talking about sex, real talk sex, uncensored. Why don't people talk about sex in their relationship? Either they're getting too much or not enough. And I'm gonna be telling a lot of truths from real case studies, having counseled 20 years. That is a big deal. That the sexual kind of flow is one person is in a drought. The other person feels like, look, I don't need to do this anymore. So I'm not in the mood because our friendship is crazy, bad. So yeah, it's going to be some real sex talk, and love to have you all's feedback on this real sex talk, because sex is a real thing, and we're going to talk about it. So we'll see you next week, and thanks for tuning in. Share it, share the post, follow the page, hit the notifications, all that good stuff.